I just
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk,
I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell.
and tonight we are going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to look at some teasers released for one of the biggest franchises of all time, and we're also going to talk about Avengers Doomsday. But our main event is going to be talking about Stranger Things Season 5 finale, aka the full finale of the entire series of Stranger Things. We're also going to give our very quick thoughts on the kind of in-between episodes, the Volume 2 episodes that we missed because they literally released on Christmas Day or on Christmas Eve. All right, so
Before we start real quick, can you double check that your mic is your active mic and not your webcam?
yes.
Sounds a bit like wonky, but it might just be me.
Does this sound any different?
A little bit, yeah.
It did sound different?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, all right. Hopefully that's better. Hopefully that's better for everybody. All right, boom. So let's do a quick what have you been watching? How have your holidays been? Did you get everything you ever wanted?
Yeah, pretty good. Haven't watched a ton of movies, if I'm being honest with myself. Watched a lot of Curb, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's been a fun time catching up on that. I think I'm on beginning of season 7, I want to say at this point. Finished Attack on Titan. I finished Gen V. So I had stopped
really?
like halfway through the season, and then I went back within the last 2 weeks. It was pretty good. I mean, it kind of felt like at the end of the end of the season, I was like, so did we kind of just do this so we can kind of just mesh the shows together? Because that's kind of how it felt. So I lost you again. You keep muting.
I don't know why it's doing that. I'm not I don't know. Well, we'll see.
Okay.
I'll take a look. Try to look every time we go to talk.
And what else did I do? Watch a few movies, like I said. I watched Jay Kelly, which was pretty good. Was my favorite thing in the world. I watched The Salem's Lot from 1970. What was it? 1979.
Oh, really?
Which I did. I liked a decent amount. Maybe it doesn't age as well. It's a little different from the book because I actually watched it because I just finished the book like a few weeks before that. I liked it a decent amount. It was effective. I get scared pretty easily, so it scared me. But they did change some things, cut some things from the book that I was a little, just kind of upset that they were missing.
Yeah.
I do plan on watching the more recent one. I think that came out last year on HBO, or 2024 technically.
Yeah.
And see how that is. I know that one is like a big change in the book, I believe. So I'll be interested to see how that is. And yeah, pretty much I've been just watching TV, honestly, and then reading. I really haven't watched that many movies.
Yeah.
And I find myself struggling with the time as far as like juggling like multiple things.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been I've found some time. I'm just trying to pull up my diary here on Letterboxd. So something I did not log is just yesterday I found time. Me and my girlfriend went to the movie theater to see the first Mission Impossible, which I actually just saw in theaters not that long ago.
Mhm.
But it was just it was part of the Regal is doing the gosh, what's
Muted again. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Nope. All right, here.
There you go. Now I gotcha.
All right, let's move on real quick. I'm gonna try and figure out my mic. Oh well, all right. While I have you here, I just want to say we went and saw Mission Impossible. A couple of things. I'll try to refresh it every time I see it do it, and then once we watch the first teaser, I'll really try to take a look to see what's going on.
Okay.
But yeah, went and saw the first Mission Impossible. Because I have seen it again this year already, I chose to sit intentionally very close. So we were in it was one of those theaters where like it's all one level flat and the screen is high. So we were like under the screen in C, and I wanted to sit as close as possible. And I will tell you, man, that movie is like electric. That is like such a great movie, that first one. So I watched that. I watched Marty Supreme. I went and saw that twice. That was fantastic. I don't know if we talked about I watched Death of a Unicorn, and then I also watched K-pop Demon Hunters. In between all of that, we have been absolutely tearing through Breaking Bad. We are in the middle of season 4, and we like just started in like the end of November. So we are like tearing through Breaking Bad. It's taking up so much of my time. I did, however, I didn't log it here. I got to get kind of caught up on my letterbox. I did not log it here, but I have watched 2 documentaries that I thought both were really great for 2 different reasons, and that is AKA Charlie, which is the Charlie Sheen documentary. Did you watch that one?
I did.
Yeah, that I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was very interesting. It's like whether you believe everything in the documentary or not, or whatever you want to say. It was very interesting to see it all from his point of view. Like it was just interesting as like a thought piece to watch him talk about it.
Lost you. Nope.
I also watched Being Eddie. Eddie Murphy.
Oh, okay.
With which I thought it was great. Kind of the exact same similar thing where it's basically Eddie taking you on this guided tour through his own life as he kind of sees it. It's kind of like both documentaries are kind of like laying out their own version of their story, because they both in different ways like felt like other people or the media had like shaped their story. So I thought it was pretty interesting in that level, a little bit deeper than just like, oh, it's just an actor documentary like produced by themselves or whatever. I thought they both got a little deeper. But yeah, and then Breaking Bad has been fantastic. Obviously been watching Stranger Things. Also have been watching a lot of Smosh and Dropout TV, both big recommendations from my girlfriend, which I did not watch either one. Dropout TV is like a streaming service. It's what College Humor turned into when they like changed their company. But it's just like a comedian, like all these different comedians with their shows and stuff. And then Smosh too. Just as soon as 6 months ago, we had that Shane Top as Booster Gold moment on this show. And yeah, I never watched Smosh or anything like that, but I've been watching a lot of that recently. So that's been fun as well. And then I just wanted to shout out my roommate, Bree, who I always am losing or not having enough of like microfiber cloths for my glasses. So my roommate got me these microfiber cloths that are like shapes of like objects.
Yeah.
So it's like a dirty paper plate and a clean one.
That's
and then
cool.
Like a popcorn bucket, but it's just a microfiber cloth. And then she got me like a pickle and one other one too that I can't remember. But
lost you. Wonder what it is.
See, it says it like locks out my mic, and then which if I can act quick enough, I may just swap over to my other mic, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to. But anyways, I can check in to see what's going on. I have to wait for it to give me the little signal that my mic cut out, and then once that I can unmute myself, but it's like it like locks me out for a minute. So if it happens, just vamp for like 30 seconds and I can recover if I can. You know what's crazy is like I almost can't even remember. There we go. I almost couldn't even remember how to use StreamYard, which is crazy because we just said this. Okay. Boom. So I want to get your thoughts on something while I go ahead and take a look at what's going on with my audio issues. Hopefully, there will be no audio issues with what I'm about to play. But there is a little movie coming out now at the end of this year called Avengers Doomsday. Heard of that or not? It's the next Russo brothers joint. And they decided to drop a trio of trailers so far in theaters. I was lucky enough, perks of my profession, I was lucky enough. I have seen the fourth one, and we can discuss it if you would like. I don't know if you've seen the leaks or anything, but the kind of dialogue leaks are pretty accurate. But I have seen it as of today. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at these first 3 teasers. And I'm going to see if I can't figure out what is going on with my microphone. So I'm going to mute myself. But we are going to go ahead and take a look at these teasers, starting with the first one, Captain America himself.
Oh, there it is. So
wow.
Call me cold-hearted.
Let's hear it.
And this is kind of speaking to all 3. So I don't know, as I'm saying this, if you want to even go through all 3 still, but these don't really do a ton for me, if I'm being completely honest.
Really? Even the third.
Even the third one, I haven't even seen all those movies. So that's probably one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Like I have not seen every single one of those X-Men movies. The second one was Thor, right? So obviously they're really playing into the fact that Thor and Captain America, Steve Rogers, they have kids, right? So, this seems like the last hurrah. Obviously, we thought it was the last one for Chris Evans in this role, but that seems to obviously not be the case. But I'm just not really feeling really much, if I'm being completely honest. The third one specifically seems like that to me is like, oh, that's the beginning of the movie or something like that. Like,
you think like X-Men Cold?
Yeah, I lost you. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this. Which I believe this is actually Chris Hemsworth's actual daughter in real life, which is cool. But yeah, they're just not really like hitting me like I would hope.
You think it's like the subdued nature of them because they are so like they're kind of like not bleak, but they're kind of just like they're very real. They're very like grounded in like realism. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's people in pain, it's people reflecting, it's all this kind of stuff. Do you think if they came out the gate with like boom, here's like group shot, like kind of a more bombastic trailer than just with like a big doom moment, just kind of a more traditional, like, kind of Avengers trailer that we're used to. Do you think that would have pushed the needle in one way or another for you?
Maybe. And I hate to say like that makes me sound like cold-hearted, like you're not affected by clearly, like again, Thor looks like he's like leaving his daughter and never going to see her again or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Like please, like he says, like, please bring me back.
Yeah.
But it's just like, and I just think it's part of like MCU as a whole, where, it's just been a lot. Again, Thunderbolts was good,
I'll be right back.
obviously.
I'm going to try one more thing. Keep going.
Thunderbolts was good. I enjoyed it. I think you enjoyed it a decent amount. But it's been a long time since they've had some like really good string of hits. And for a lot of people, this movie seems like they're digging up all the best hits and putting them in this movie because they really need something to work. And specifically with like Robert Downey Jr. coming back. And then obviously have Chris Evans and, everybody else coming back. I don't know. It just, it doesn't instill a ton of confidence, for me personally. Now, maybe the fourth one will be interesting. You said you've seen it, or maybe at least seen the dialogue or whatever. So that could be, and I think the fourth one is that actually like Doom related? I don't know if you can talk. I don't think you can. But yeah, I agree with like what Shannon's saying, where it's like they are trying to leverage their families. Obviously, that's where we left Steve Rogers in Endgame. So, and we'd already know that, like, or at least the rumor was, because I don't know if it was like confirmed, but that is what is going to play into like the reason that Doom is going after everybody, because he like stayed behind and all the other stuff and messed with the whole time thing. So I'll be very interested to see how that all kind of goes together. I don't know when Sean's coming back, or if he is coming back.
Are you now hearing my sultry tones on the Elgato Wave 1?
Yes, I am.
There we go. Okay, I just took the time and I just fully swapped out the the Audio Technica for the other one, but I had to set it up for a second.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the trailers are doing a lot for me, but I can't say I don't like disagree with everything. Hopefully, we like fine with the microphone. If that wasn't it, then I don't know what.
Yeah, if it wasn't that mic, then it's just StreamYard.
Yeah, which then there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah. But hopefully we should be all good. So just let me know if anything happens with it again. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you that like they are a different tone than I expected them to be, or that I thought we were going to be going with it. And I do think the fourth one continues that. I'm not going to say that the fourth one is like, oh, this is the one that's going to blow you away. So you've seen nothing about the fourth one. Is that right?
I've not. No, I know nothing about it.
Okay. Well, I'll just say that Jeff Snyder was correct on the hot mic last week.
Okay.
So it is the fourth trailer pertains to the team with the four.
Okay. So it's not Doom. Is there Doom in there, I guess, related to Fantastic Four?
No.
Or is it just okay?
Yeah. It is well, I'll just say I won't spoil everything, but it is the Fantastic Four in Wakanda. So that is what the teaser is. And I won't say anything more than that, but that is what you guys will look forward to, which will actually start in theaters very soon. Let me see. Fix the audio and then my light goes, but it's okay, everybody. We have everything plugged in. I'll just say this in darkness for a second. But I don't think that the fourth one is going to be some big dramatic, like, oh, it's going to get people back on board who maybe weren't on board before. I do think, however, it pairs up nicely with the other three that we've gotten. And I do like the kind of, again, it's not even that somber. It's not like every one of them is negative. It's just like there's like a heaviness to them that I feel. Now, obviously, I feel like where that plays the most is with, Professor X and with Magneto.
Yeah.
Just because, whether you've seen all the movies or not, just knowing them since the beginning, there's just so much history already there. It would be like, I think that the Steve one, it worked for me, but would you agree it would have worked better if or maybe not worked better, but it would have been like a big moment if he turns around with the baby and then Haley Atwell is also there. And that's how the trailer ends. That would have been like, oh man, like again, not to say that it would have like fixed the trailer or gotten X amount more tickets or X amount more excitement. But I do think that like these characters with connections with each other are very interesting. And I think that the fourth trailer kind of shows us people who are meeting for the first time. So I think that's interesting. But I do think it was a interesting choice to not include Doom in any of these.
Yeah.
Or any real big Doom moment or anything like that. But yeah, I think they were fun. And obviously, you gotta love the optic blast from Scott Summers at the end of the X-Men one. And just seeing James Marsden in that outfit. I'm somebody who I've loved James Marsden as like when I was a kid, we're basically the same age. Like when I was a kid, seeing Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, seeing the X-Men, seeing everything that was like coming out when we were little. I just love that. So like James Marsden as Cyclops to me is one of those people that like you keep giving him to me for years and years and years, and I will take it. Obviously, I'm assuming this will be his last hurrah, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall, I think they've worked, but it could have been bigger.
And to me personally, I still don't know what it is exactly, but I honestly just think it might be where I'm at with like Marvel as a whole, where I'm just kind of, I'm kind of going along with it right now. I'm not really, this doesn't have the hype of an Endgame or an Infinity War where it's like we've just been knocking out of the park with every good project we've been doing.
Yeah.
And now you're going to see it all culminate. So I don't know. I got, I'm still going to go see it obviously in December when it comes out, right? December.
Yeah.
But right now I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, there's another teaser. Well, I wouldn't exactly maybe call it burnout, but it's like I'm just looking for new, like, not to say I'm like full on like, oh, I've switched to DC and everything like that, but
or to Team Roca.
Yeah, like if you were to ask me which, like, oh, are you more excited for like the Batman next or like Doomsday? I might say the Batman.
Wow, that's crazy. That actually might be crazy. But no, I don't think so. I don't think that's crazy. I think
I know
people,
what you mean.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it is very interesting just the way that they're approaching this and the fact that it's like they're also kind of, and granted this is Sony, but Marvel, it has a huge hand in the production and the decisions on this franchise. They're kind of like keeping it really minimal with Spider-Man still, even though that comes out way before this. And that's really the only other, that is the only other superhero movie next year. That is the only other Marvel movie next year. We have Supergirl and we have Clayface from DC. But yeah, I don't know. I think broadly they're working for me, but I would have liked to see maybe, I don't know, maybe like if there is a fit, I just would have liked to see this culminate in a big full trailer. And I think that maybe they are, and I think that rumors are true, and I think it lines up that we would get a full trailer at the Super Bowl. Because that's like, Super Bowl and the Avengers, my mind immediately goes to Captain America Civil War. Remember the Super Bowl spot in 2016, the united we stand, divided we fall, and it was people just chanting that over and over again with shots of all the Avengers fighting each other. And that was a huge Super Bowl trailer. I think that teaser itself got like 85 million views online or something like that, just that teaser. So I think the Super Bowl has definitely been kind to Marvel Studios, so I'd be happy to get there, but I just want to see where this is going, because I think the thing that you're talking about of, we don't have that end game, we don't have that Infinity War hype. I think that could really 180 itself with a really good story trailer, or just a great teaser trailer that establishes the story, not necessarily one that lays it all out for you, but just like give me an idea of what is at stake, why Doom is coming after them, and why they, know about it, or why they're gearing up. And show me Sam Wilson. Like, what the hell? All right. Anything else on the Marvel trailers?
No, that is all from me.
Boom. Well, I wanted to address a live viewer in the chat, which, by the way, thank you guys so much if you're joining us right now. We got 7 people watching us. We had 10 people watching us at concurrently at the same time earlier. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight to talk to, oh my God, to talk about Stranger Things. My mouth is going like a mile a minute. But I wanted to pull up this live chat from a little bit earlier, and I want to give TJ the go ahead to start on this one while I fix my light here. Have you both seen Avatar Fire and Ash? What are your rapid fire reviews? We have seen Avatar Fire and Ash. We saw it together on opening night, basically opening showtime. We didn't go to the 3 o'clock. We went to the 7 o'clock, but we have seen Avatar. So TJ, take it away, because I'm sure we're going to agree on this.
Yeah, Avatar Fire and Ash, beautiful look at. Once again, James Cameron with the Avatar movies, just every single one, just great to look at. But for me, this third one felt a decent amount like the second one. And I just felt like there was stuff that they introduced that they didn't really go that much into. I thought, if I can say one thing I really liked was Stephen Lang. I thought he really stole the movie for me in this one in particular. But just a lot of just kind of obviously still dealing with the grief of their son, their lost son. And
Yeah.
you know, I told Sean when we were walking, I was like, they talk a lot about this stuff, but they don't really go back to it ever throughout the movie.
Mhm.
You know, at one point, Jake he basically says to his son, like, if you would have just followed the rules, our other son would still be alive.
Yeah.
And then they don't really ever go back to that conversation at all. And it's just, I'm just kind of left there like, okay. And now they're like all good, it seems like. And, you know, obviously we have the whole kind of subplot with the whale that, you know, take it or leave it. I was kind of the same way with the second one where it's like, I don't really care. And I wanted more of the Ash people. I just felt like the water tribe in the second one was such a big part of the movie. And in this one, I was left wanting more.
Yeah.
And I said to you in the lobby, I was like, so were they just sitting there so they could dress up Stephen Lang's character and like their like painted skin and stuff like that? I was like, I just wanted more. And again, it also just like the last hour, I would say, felt very much like the second one, especially the set pieces when they're kind of battling at the end, not specifically on like the big rocks, you know, that are being sucked up into the thing, but
like
mostly when they're kind of breaking
the
out
whaling
of the,
one.
yeah, or
Earlier.
that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I just saw this.
Yeah.
Obviously it was years ago, but still. So didn't totally work for me. But like I said, still great to look at. Pretty much I shouldn't say pretty much, only movie I'll go to see in 3D. I mean, it just looked great. And it's funny because I was watching a review and they were talking about the frame rate difference. And I messaged you, I was like, what are they talking about? I was like, and you're like, yeah, but you said we had gotten it, but it came corrupted. So we were just watching the regular one. I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
they're like every single theater in the world got like everything was received with a 24 frames per second like backup.
Yeah.
And it still means that like the effects, they still master them like at Weta in 48 frames per second. It just means that the movie is then just downscaled back to it. So you're basically just losing those frames in the actual like film. So there's no real difference. I mean, other than, you know, it's still animated for the way I've been watching a ton of stuff with James Cameron, obviously. And he really put it down good, which is like when you're driving, you hear like the Doppler effect of like when things go past you and it's like, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
He's like, you have a visual Doppler effect, basically, that's the same thing. And that's what creates like brain strain when you're straining your eyes to watch a 3D movie. So what they do is they choose the section, they will go back, watch a section of the movie with the 3D glasses. And whenever there's too much of that like strobing effect, that's when they'll go and redo the shot in 48 frames per second, because doubling the frames reduces your eye strain. which I thought was very, very interesting. That like it's so technical. It makes sense why they only have IMAX 3D shows, because it's like a 2D IMAX show of this movie would be just like throwing out half
Yeah.
the work that they did on the movie. But yeah, I mean, I will say I definitely have issues with it, but man, it is I love this movie. I
Mm.
was like I thought it was so fantastic, and all those things that you said are there. I definitely think that like, let's call it the fourth act of a 5-act movie.
Yeah.
So like the part before, the big fight with the rocks and stuff, when the vortex starts, that it becomes very interesting, and things that we have not necessarily seen before. But stuff before that, where it's mostly dealing with all of the, shuttles and pilots and this and that, that stuff can kind of feel repetitive, but I really, really loved it. I thought the whole like kind of middle part, like the kind of second, third part of the movie, with him getting captured by the RDA, and then being in that prison, and then like the jumpsuit that he has on, and the escape. I just thought all that stuff was such like a unique set piece that we really have never seen in a movie like this, in one of these Avatar movies before. So I thought that was really, really nice. Obviously, I wish the end could have been as original as that middle part felt to me.
Yeah.
But again, also I do see the things where people are like, oh, the movie is just kind of like going from, oh, we have Spider, now we have to get Spider, now we have to get Spider again. Where do you
Yeah.
go? And it's like, I get that. That's like kind of the same thing with like, Newt in Aliens, oh my god, in Aliens. I almost said
Mhm.
Aliens too, but that's not what it's called. It's kind of the same thing with Newt in that movie.
Yeah.
So and that's a common criticism of James Cameron stuff, but for me, it's like the visuals, the character work, the and then the acting, the performances. I mean, me and friend of the show, Alex Frank, we were talking about like this movie more than the other two, even more than the last one, which just came out. Um, there are certain shots where I'm like, this has to be makeup. Like I'm looking at a
Mhm.
real face,
Yeah.
just with like it's gotten so good that they just look so real. They look like themselves. It's kind of crazy. It's like the effects are so good in this movie. It to me, in my opinion of the movie, it more than makes up for any of the other like basic elements, or like, what do I want to say? Kind of like retreads that might
Mhm.
be in the movie. You know what I mean? That's kind of my take on it. But overall, really, really loved
Yeah.
Avatar 3. Definitely
I
hope
think
it makes a good amount of money and that we can keep it going.
and I'm thinking, real quick, and maybe this is something that he kind of threw in there, James
Of
Cameron threw
course.
in there as well, to kinda to expand on in these next 2 movies if they happen. Um, a lot of talk from with Jake and Quaritch about Quaritch, like, giving himself over,
Yeah.
and becoming a Na'vi and, doing all this stuff, and he says it, like, a gazillion times during the movie, and it just is never, like, there's no action with that, you know what I mean? Where it's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, do this," blah, 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 and it just feels like we're just, like you said, kind of repeating the same thing, but also just Jake's, like, trying to get him, but it just doesn't happen, and not that I thought that we would have this massive turn at the end for Quaritch or anything like that, but
Holy
I
sh
would have liked to see some progression, you know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
I do feel like that is
I
something
feel
that
like we left him in the middle of progression. Like
yeah,
we have not gotten to the other side of it yet. You know
right.
what I mean? And that's why, I mean, you and I talked about, I think the biggest thing coming out, for sure, the biggest thing coming out is just I said to you, I was like, that's not an ending. It's
Yeah,
like I'm totally game for it, just like I
yeah,
was with the end of Way of Water, of like, and I shouldn't say that. This movie does end with, they take out Edie Falco. They've driven back, not nearly all the humans on the planet, but they have gotten, this was their like a new hope. This was their like rebels strike back. They got a good hit in on the RDA at the end of this movie. And that's kind of the ending of this movie, is that um
mhm,
just like kind of the big loss that they took was the ending of the Way of Water. But other than that being like the kind of plot ending, I think a lot of the characters are left in the middle of their journey, so I really hope that we get a follow up in some way or another. But I wanted to pull up here real quick. Travis Mitchell, just this is insane. So I now don't think that they're gonna do this, but for years my big thing was like one of these movies is gonna be like them going to Earth and being like, Jake's going to have to be on Earth. I think that's just wishful thinking at this point now. I think that these movies are going in a different direction. I'd be happy if I was wrong because I would love to see what it would look like for a Na'vi to F crap up on Earth.
Yeah.
But Travis Mitchell says if they do go to Earth, one way they could end it is replanting the willow tree from the first film on Earth, creating a psychic link between Earth and Pandora. Awa reawakening Earth's ecosystem. Yeah, that would be crazy. That
Wow.
like
Yeah.
at the because another ending of this movie that I thought was really impactful for me, for somebody who geeks out over these Avatar movies and really, really likes the lore and everything that's a part of this stuff. I loved the fact that at the end of the movie, when Spider was kind of accepted into the like the astral plane, basically, like accepted into this, you know, communing with the ancestors kind of thing.
Mhm.
To me, that's like the first movie is like, you know, can they accept Jake? Then the second movie is like, can this new tribe accept their family? It feels like this movie ends and it's like Spider is recognized, like he's not Navi, but he is a part of their community. You know what I mean? And I thought that that was a really great ending for this movie. But and this kind of what Travis Mitchell said here would kind of be like these first three movies is like the connection of like, can humans be accepted by the Navi and can humans accept the Navi?
Mhm.
You know, and we kind of see that through two different ways. This would kind of be like taking that to the extreme of like the actual planets themselves having some sort of a connection now,
Yeah.
almost being hybrids where you see that Jake is kind of a human avatar or a human Navi hybrid. Same with it, Spider is kind of. There's a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of interesting, like I love great sci-fi movies that like just are thought provoking. So on that note, let's talk about one that isn't that thought provoking. Let's go ahead and talk about Stranger Things season 5 finale, aka the finale of all of Stranger Things, the series finale, if you would. The right side up. Now we are going to talk a little bit here at the front about our thoughts on the previous 3 episodes that were not TJ, not received that well by the public, I would say. What were your thoughts on that? You had the kind of the big coming out moment by Noah Schnapp delivering that big, huge monologue as Will Byers. We have a couple of good moments with Joyce, with Hopper. Some interesting stuff with Kali, where, you know, Hopper doesn't really trust Kali, but there's a lot of stuff going on. What were your kind of thoughts on those kind of middle 3 episodes that were not regarded that well? We also have the big Nancy and Jonathan scene going on there, as well as of course Max kind of
We're talking
waking
5,
up.
6, and 7.
5, 6, and 7, yeah. So Max waking up, the
Right.
Jonathan and them, and the upside down, everything like that. Dustin and Steve getting over their stuff.
Yeah, so I would say pretty much with the whole season, and I guess these, you know, if I'm thinking of these ones specifically, I thought they were fine. I thought anything with Sadie Sink was really good. I just really like her as an actress, so seeing her on screen doing anything, I think is great. Obviously, I really like them bringing Holly more for this final season, even though I know a big complaint was like they took a lot of time away from like our main kind of cast, which
Yeah.
I do understand, but it's kind of been a theme every season. And with most things that when you get a new season or whatever, you'll add a new character or two to kind of, you know, play with whatever you want to do. But I really liked the introduction of Holly and how much she got to do. And overall, I thought it was just fine. I'm really stretching to remember, honestly, just because it's been like a few weeks.
Yeah.
So overall, I thought it was fine. I did like how we got a little bit more of like the Henry background. And that was kind of added upon in this final episode.
Yeah.
Overall, I was fine with it. Wasn't too high, wasn't too low. I just thought it was fine.
Yeah, I honestly, I was kind of up and down on it while watching it.
Mhm.
In the sense of I was like, I feel like we were really high coming off of episode 4 of the big Will has powers moment. And you're like, oh my God, this is insane.
Mhm.
And then it's like certain elements just felt something immediately to me. There was honestly, it was kind of scary, like the immediacy that I felt that something was off when
Yeah.
episode 5 started and Mike gets up and Joyce is like, Joyce goes to Will and goes, "What was that?" And he goes, "He's a genuine superhero." Like, um, just like the pacing and the cutting of that felt crazy. And something that I don't know if this will ever come out, but I'm gonna put on my John Roca tinfoil hat here.
Okay.
The leaked runtimes were so much longer than what they
Yeah.
actually ended up being. And I really do wonder if they took these last 4 episodes like to the chop shop. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like maybe not the last episode. Maybe the last episode was always like 2.5 or 2:15, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But those previous 3, the fact that they were all like right around an hour and 10 minutes, like there was really no huge one that was like, oh, here we go. Now we're really building it up. And they all feel so choppy and like I'm going to really dive into some of the negative here before I go into the positive, because overall, I do think it was an effective finale. Spoiler alert. But I'm going to dive into the negative here. Like certain things, like when Max comes to the radio station and when everybody gets to the radio station and it's like
Mhm.
the big group and it just goes, Hopper just looks at Max basically straight to camera and goes, "Welcome back, kid. Welcome back." That's like what the whole show
Aren't you
became.
dead?
Yeah, that's like, or like, and I'm not even, yes, like, weren't you dead? But I'm not even like hung up on that. It's just it's like you have David Harbour here. This guy has gone to such insane monologues and lengths and stuff. And it's like half of these, and you could say that about every single character. These people have proven that they could do such great things with these characters. So when you get the biggest moment in an episode is Hopper going like, "Yeah, kid, welcome back."
Mhm.
Like it just feels like a waste. And it's like last season, the last like 5 episodes were all like an hour and 50 minutes or like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something like that. And it's like, I'm not saying that you have to constantly make longer and longer episodes or that runtime is even the answer. I think just better writing is the answer.
Yeah.
But that being said, I still think there was some great stuff in those 3 episodes. I actually found Noah Schnapp's performance in the kind of coming out scene pretty effective. I know a lot
I
of
also
people
did.
disagreed. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty effective. And I get that it's like, oh, okay, yep, there's a lot of people in the room, but I'm also just
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's like a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
people are like, and there's so many people, it ruined it. And it's like, and I've heard people, in the LGBT community that are like, you know, oh, this is very this would not happen, particularly in like the middle of the AIDS crisis and stuff. And it's like I do think there's just a level of like suspension of disbelief. It's like you just have to accept that he's talking to the characters on this show. Like he's not going to be like, okay, but make sure that Murray's not there because Murray is not going to approve of this. You know what I mean? It's like
Uh-huh.
that it's just the scene for the scene's sake. And I do think there's a level of like, even if it was just a personal thing to Noah, like I think about like there's actors on Broadway that it's like, oh, for the final show of the run, at the end of the show, a man comes up and gives them the newspaper, but it's their last show. So the man is going to be her husband. And it's
Mhm.
like, oh, he came out for the last show. It's like, and I heard, and again, I'm taking things that I've seen in interviews and stuff, and I'm interjecting that, but also it's part of the show making process. And it's like, I know that Noah Schnapp said in several interviews that he's like, it was a huge thing to be able to tell it to all these people because all of these actors that like were my friends, they all found out from the press that he, the actual actor Noah Schnapp, was gay. He was like, that moment was kind of taken from me. So to be able to do that through the character to everyone was like a huge moment. And, you know, and it's like, sometimes I do think that like to make it a really huge moment for the actor is sometimes worth it, you know, to alter the story or something like that, if it means that, you know, Noah Schnapp can get to that level. Now, I'm not saying that Noah Schnapp is an incredible actor or that all of his acting has been fantastic throughout all of Stranger Things. I just think he crushed that monologue.
Mhm.
And I thought was very, very good in that episode. But yeah, I thought that those three were basically fine, but I was definitely worried about season 5 when I was that, because it was like it was just bad enough that I was like, oh, if this finale, not even if the finale is just fine, I was like, if this finale isn't like good, these 3 episodes and a bad finale could just like tank the whole thing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
luckily, to spoil my early thoughts here, I did think that the finale was pretty good. I think there was definitely things that there was still like, you know, cheesy, corny moments and stuff like that. And there was still the kind of like, yeah, kid. Yeah. There was still that from like David Harbour and really every character. Um, but goddamn, that epilogue like obliterated me. I don't know
Mm.
about you. I have always loved, shout out Kyle Dixon, music head of music department, was the lead composer for I think the first 3 seasons, but is now the music supervisor and everything like that. Huge influence. One of my favorite I think it was a Wired video, is back from season 1. They did a whole like 10 minutes with Kyle Dixon showing how he used the synthesizers and the different musical equipment, like out of the ordinary things, to make the kind of music of Stranger
Mhm.
Things and why it kind of sounds like that. And man, all the music, all of the score for this show, they were playing all the hits, you know, everything from all the different seasons, and then they really hit you right at the end with that original kids theme from season 1 right at the end of the episode. I was very emotional the first time I watched the finale. I cried like a like insane the second time I watched it. I don't know what it was. It all like hit me like so hard. It was like, oh, the last 10 years and everything like that. And so honestly, for that reason, I think this finale really came together for me and pulled it together.
Mhm.
That being said, the first hour of like, I loved all the Henry stuff. I loved all the Henry Vecna one, everything we were getting with that. The fight with the Mind Flayer was like visually again looks fantastic. It's the actors in the environment that does not look great. I saw that they're like, it looks like a GTA load screen or whatever.
I
But the again, the creature design, going back to what Danielle said in our first review for season 5, where Danielle said that the CG didn't look great, and I was like, I agree with some of the environment stuff, but again,
Mhm.
just like what we talked about with the Demogorgons, the creature design on the Mind Flayer I thought was very good. Despite maybe not liking the fact that the Mind Flayer had a physical body. Like there's deeper stuff. We don't really have time for a we could do like a 4-hour discussion on the lore of this and stuff, but TJ and I have the rest of our lives to talk about the show. But yeah, yeah. Real I didn't love the Mind Flayer having like the physical embodiment, but that is my quick thoughts. I think second hour better than first hour. I think Jamie Campbell Bower as Vecna, incredible villain. The all the way, all the layers of the 7-layer dip of his character. You know, the fact that we can go seamlessly from Mister What's It to him in the tunnel crying, you know, living out his past, um, and then obviously to Vecna himself. And the fact that it's all the same guy, I just think he was fantastic all throughout the season. But let's hear from you, your first thoughts, and then we have a caller on the line to give their thoughts. But TJ, take it away. Go anywhere you want about the finale.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was fine. Um,
Yeah.
didn't really affect me emotionally. I don't think as much as I kind of wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, spoiler alert, nobody really, I mean, I shouldn't say that. Nobody died that I thought would die, I will say. Which I thought just was odd. Again, I think they did a lot of that. We said this like a few weeks ago. They do it, especially with
Steve.
No, the Hopper character.
Oh yeah,
where it's like, oh, he's gonna die. Like a lot of like, oh no, he's fine. Just like at some point, it gets to be too much. I did think, split second, I did think Steve was gone there for a second. I didn't think the cut to black was necessary.
Yeah, that was great. That was just for the theatrical audience.
Yeah.
That was like, oh my god.
The whole kind of, I liked for the most part the mind flare thing, which I saw that too, like on Twitter as well. Like that was a big prediction for a lot of people, where it's like, well, that's clearly like the body of it is when you would get those kind of.
That was a big reveal for me. I was like, oh shit.
So that one, I when it happened, I was like, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's a lot of people kind of calling that out. But I think you could really come back to a lot of stuff being left unanswered. The whole kind of the date thing, the why do we need 12 kids, specifically the kids from this class as well, I think was another thing. Because it really is only one class. Am I incorrect on that?
Yeah, it's just Holly's class.
Right. So some of that is just a little, it's you just kind of have to ignore it, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
The if I can speak to another moment that didn't quite work for me, I would say the Joyce moment with cutting off Vecna's head.
Okay,
you didn't give Winona Ryder anything to do in this entire time. And then you want me to come back and be like, yes, this is her moment. Where it's like, I haven't connected to her since season 2.
Yeah.
Like, right now.
I feel sorry. I'm sorry.
Just this season, there was too many, in my opinion, there was too many mouths to feed as far as characters go. And some people just had to, they just didn't get to have their moment or any moments throughout the season. And then I just thought the whole bringing back Callie, right? Callie.
Yeah.
Was just, I just could have done without that. It felt like, hey, remember season 2, we made that episode that everybody hated. Let's make sure we bring back this character so that it had a purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've talked about it too, where it's like, okay, well,
and now they have the new lowest rated episode.
Yeah. And it's like, well, it doesn't excuse the fact the episode was still bad,
Yeah.
And, you want people to accept this thing where it's like, and she doesn't really have anything to do either. Like, obviously she has that kind of big moment at the end, but leading up to that, it's just kind of, and overall, I thought it was fine. There was some good moments, but most of it, I was just kind of, at this point, I was checked out. I'm sure it kind of hit a little bit more for you as well, just because you had been rewatching. For me, I didn't rewatch it all. So there's a lot of moments where I'm like, what? Wait,
have you ever rewatched the show?
No, I am not a rewatcher. Oh, wow. Specifically shows, I am just like, not like, I don't want to say it's like, again, it's not, I want to say a waste of time or anything, but it's just like, I just don't have the want to go back and watch 4 seasons of a show leading up to this last season.
It's like a big what's it called? It's a big
commitment.
Yeah. It's like a big and it puts me, oh my god, what am I trying to say? I rewatch shows all the time, and it puts me at such a disadvantage in my movie watching. Like it eats away at my movie time so much. I really wish that I didn't, but especially right now, I feel like with the new person in my life, it's I gotta hit the hits all over again.
Yeah, and I do I do think this show struggled as well.
Yeah,
with something that was a detriment to this show, just in the long run, was the amount of time between seasons. Like, I just find it unfathomable, but that there was like 3+ years between seasons. That's crazy. and and of course, in that time, I guess I could have went back and watched each season if I wanted to, but at some point, it's like, okay, why? You really got to knock it. You got to make this really all worth it. Again,
And
I
I
started
thought that
watching
the
this
wait
show
for
when I
season
graduated high
4
school. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah. I thought the
Um,
wait for season 4 justified itself. I think the
Yeah.
wait for this and then the result,
mhm,
like, shot itself in the leg.
Yeah.
Like big time. Because season 4, people go like, "Oh, the wait for season 5 was the longest ever, whatever." It was like the wait for season 5 was like 3 years and 6 months, and it was like the wait for season 4 was like 3 years and like 4 months. So it's like
Yeah.
those seasons are really the ones that are delayed. Like I looked the announcement teaser for season 4 the video was posted on YouTube 7 years ago or
mhm,
6 years ago. The announcement for season 4. That means all 3 seasons were already out by that point 6 years ago. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy to think about. But also I've always been the first one to defend not defend the show, but to go, things take time. Things take their time. And I say that all the time, and I said that in the lead up to this, and I said that to you and Danielle in the first
mhm,
review of this. Um I, I enjoyed it and I loved the very end, and the finale really got me. There is like 5 hours of this 9-hour season that I enjoyed watching because I liked the characters, and I think it was interesting to watch Vecna twist around with these kids and where is it going and what's his ploy.
mhm,
But then when you don't answer any of it, or when you leave most of it unanswered, it's very difficult to look back fondly on those scenes that I remember being like, "Oh, I wonder where this is going." Because I love a scene that makes me go, "I wonder where this is going," as long as I
Yeah.
find out where it's going, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Last thing I'll say real quick.
hit it.
Military, cut all of it.
It was
Everything.
just, dude, it was
Yeah.
worse than Welcome to Derry.
Oh my God.
I'll say
Yeah.
it. It was worse than Welcome
I
to
was
Derry.
like, what are we doing?
Linda
Why do we have
Hamilton
Linda Hamilton in this show?
completely
What is she
wasted.
doing?
And that's the other thing too, is it's like I give these shows, and again, I really like the finale. I
Yeah.
give these shows the benefit of the doubt until the last possible second, where I'm like, well, Dr. K could be doing this. Dr. K could be doing
Yeah.
that. Dr. K, she just doesn't do anything. She just doesn't do
Yeah.
anything, and then she's gone. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the end of that character.
I agree with some people, or I agree with the thought maybe that
Yeah.
they were like, oh, Matthew Modine. And it's like, oh yeah, we killed him. It's like,
Yeah.
so we need a new military guy. We need a new
Yeah.
military person. It just, yeah, everything with the military in this season specifically, it was like, why are we even bothering? And again, just like you said, with Welcome to Derry, the same thing. It's like, who really cares? Like there's a in Welcome to Derry specifically, obviously, with Halloran.
Yeah.
Or Halloran, right?
Yep.
Yeah. There's like, specific characters tied to the military, and that's
that
like an
was
important
interesting.
aspect,
Yeah.
but more of like, oh, the military is trying to control the entity. It's like, nah.
Yeah, that's where you like lose me with that.
Yeah, you lose me with that. And it's again the same thing with that, where they're not necessarily trying to control Vecna, but trying to create more 11s, and it's like,
It's just weak, yeah, especially for the end to hinge so much on that.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
it's funny, like at the end,
really
it's like,
for that.
well, she's gone. All right, pack it up, I guess.
Yeah, they say, well, we need no further proof. Let's see. I'm gonna read this chat and then we're gonna get to our caller. Caller,
Okay.
can you you know what? Actually, let's bring our caller in and then we'll get to the chat, because the chat will be there. So Travis Mitchell in the chat, please stay around. We are gonna find out Shelly's thoughts on the finale right now. Can you put your mic back and forth, let you know that you are ready to come into the show, please? All right, perfect.
Awesome. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. What were your thoughts on Stranger Things finale this season?
A few things. I did love it. And I can't even look at Finn Wolford even out of context right now because I cried like a baby, and I still do every time I look at him now. But with that said, definitely flawed. Like you said, I think Linda Hamilton had 3 lines and they were all the same line. And then I didn't think that they needed the teacher, like Dustin's teacher, that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
I just
watch
was like,
what you say about Scott Clark.
Sorry, I just didn't think that they needed that. Like, we already know that all these people that have been working together for 10 years know how to do the things once they think of it, or a couple of them together. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel like they needed this other character because, like you guys said, there were so many people in this thing that if you were going to cut things, definitely he didn't need to be there. I really didn't see the value in it at all.
Yeah.
Callie, I felt the same as you guys, and I feel like we felt like Hopper did. She was not necessary.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't want her around at all.
Yeah.
And I think literally the only thing we got out of that, because even her dialogue was very stagnated. It was the same thing over and over, telling 11 the same stuff over and over. And really the only thing that you could come away from it is that Hopper is jealous of anyone who might take his place or be as important to her or more important than he is. I just feel like that's his big thing with her, not just being overprotective, but not wanting anybody to horn in on their relationship for any reason. And that's really the only thing I took away from the Callie thing. And then, what else was I going to say? I loved the whole thing when Jonathan fell. And I know, Sean, I had told you that I caught something online several times that people had leaks, and it was they said he died. So somebody had seen this or heard about it, and it was all over, and I was so mad, and it turned out he didn't. But the big thing was when he fell, you just assume it's Dustin's hand. And when you see that it's Jonathan, like, I was just so happy that it was him, because I feel like the 2 characters that probably developed the most through this thing were Jonathan and Steve. I really, really do. I think not just together, not just what Nancy means to them or they mean to her, just
You mean through the finale?
Yeah, the finale.
Yeah.
Like they were just, I felt, the ones that grew the most. And then when you get onto the roof scene with the older kids and everything, they seem to be the most grounded when they talk about what they're doing now and everything.
Yeah, they're like the most sure of what they're doing.
Exactly. And I mean, even Nancy was like, well, I've been doing this, but I might try this. So like they weren't sure what they were going to do. And you would think Nancy was the most grounded one out of everybody, but she still doesn't know what she wants,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I really thought that the 2 guys were like, more like developed the most throughout the whole thing. I felt like the graduation didn't really, except for his speech, and taking the shirt off. So it's a nod to Eddie. Great, but I expected something big to happen during that other than just watching these kids graduate. I don't know if you guys felt that at all, but I just felt it kind of just laid there, really.
Yeah.
Let's see. The other thing, too, was I really identified with the kids when they were on the roof, the older ones, because here they're saying, oh, let's meet up like in a month or 2 and everything. And oh yeah, we'll keep meeting up. As somebody who's borderline boomer and Gen X, we have all said that and it never happens. And if it does, it's like 30, 40 years down the line. You know what I mean? So I felt like emotional just listening to them, knowing that that's probably not going to happen, even with everything they've been through together. It was just, that hit a real moment with me. But I really did like it. I choose to believe that she's out there. So call me naive or whatever you say. But I feel like she might be out there somewhere. But yeah, I liked how it sort of tied up with them playing D&D at the end like that.
Yep.
That was nice. I liked that.
Yeah, I
But,
thought that was great with the binders, and then
Yeah.
with Max being there too. That it's like, you know, we've talked about before, where it's like really as soon as Max joins, it's like the 4 becomes like the 5 of like really it's really about the 6. You know, it's about the 5 of them and then L. You know, so because L
Right.
can't be there, obviously you end with the main 5.
Yeah.
That are left on the board, no pun intended. But all right, well, thank you so much for your thoughts and for calling in with your thoughts on Stranger Things 5. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
All right.
If I can say one specific thing in the finale that really I thought was really effective, that did work for me, was even though it was kind of weird because they they show like these cans of these big drums of pesticide. I don't really know how this played into the visions that Hopper was having.
It was
when he's like having
it was Agent Orange, because that he was in the chemical corps in Vietnam.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that helps. But still,
you didn't
rewatch
like the show every single year.
I guess not. Yeah, having the visions.
Yeah,
and him like shooting the tank. I thought that to me was great. I thought that worked perfectly.
That was like Hopper felt like Hopper.
And it kind of brought me back to like, remember when this show, like specifically season 1, season 2, it used to be like, for me at least, it was scary. You know, there was there was horror moments in those first 2-3 seasons. And that I thought was a really good, like, kind of bring it back to its roots right there. And it just one of the things in the finale that really did work for me, I thought was effective.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's another, you know, if you want to talk about like micro problems with the finale itself versus like macro problems with the show as a whole, like something happened after season 3 with the whole, like, I don't know if you remember this, but like cast your mind back to like 2018.
Oh geez.
And it was like David Harbour will no longer smoke on Stranger Things. Did you remember that? That was like a big story.
No.
It was like it was like Netflix announces that they will be curbing the everybody's lovable, huggable sheriff, that he'll be toned down and he won't smoke on camera and stuff, because like people got all outraged because he would smoke in every single scene. And it's like, whenever that stuff started changing with like, we have to make it more family friendly. And I really do think that seasons 2 and 3 are the perfect balance of, because people go like, well, the show's always been for kids. Yeah, I love the stuff in Starcourt Mall. Yeah, the stuff where they're working at the ice cream shop, and then also the stuff in Starcourt Mall where the kid who becomes a vessel for the devil gets impaled at the end of the season. Like there was always both. It's the same location even. You know what I mean? It's like the show has so like when people are like, well, the show's always been lighter and for kids. The show has also been super dark. The very first episode, the very opening of the show is a scientist getting chased by the Demogorgon and getting killed. And then boom, it cuts to the D&D game. The show has always been both. And I feel like it still is both. And there are scary elements and like there is action. And I will say, episode 4 of this season, when Will is doing the power thing, that whole Demogorgon battle, that was great. That was, you brought me back. That you recaptured the magic in the last hour of that episode for sure. Easily the peak of season 5 for sure. But again, you recaptured the peak of my fear of the Demogorgons. There was no new fear unlocked, you know? And it's like, I do find Vecna genuinely scary. But also you can't find a villain that scary when you know. I didn't find Thanos that scary when the final battle started in Endgame. You know what I mean? At that point I was like, all right, I think they might have this. I think we're going to see this one through. You know what I mean? So it's like, as scary as I find Vecna and as great of a villain as I think he is, it's the finale. So it's like, you kind of know, well, something's going to happen here. You know, something's going to happen with Vecna. So it kind of takes you out of it there. And then again, I didn't think we were even going to get to this, but we'll get to it now. It's not that I didn't like the Mind Flayer having a physical body.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so much scarier as like the smoke monster. You know what I mean? I just thought that was so much scarier and so much more effective than like this like crab dragon kind of thing that we ended up getting. This like crab spider kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this is just like Pennywise physical form or like actual form.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just thought it was a bunch of hits and misses for me, honestly. It was like the highs were really high. The lows were higher than they have been in some of the other parts of the season. So like, again, that leads me to really liking the finale. But I do want to read out here. Travis Mitchell has put a couple of comments in. As the show became more epic in terms of stakes with 4 and 5, I think you inevitably lose a lot of authentic character moments, time for fun, and for us to just live their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Address one criticism that being that no one really died. I think the space between seasons made that necessary. How did the show had a season a year kill someone, but it took 10 years. Yeah, I agree with that. I think killing one of the characters after waiting that long for a show at that point would feel like a slap in the face to the audience. It lessens the stakes, but I get why. And then he said, very good points. There you go. I appreciate Mr. Clark finally having something to do. And then season 3 was the best the show ever was for me. It managed to balance the tone of horror, comedy, while not forgetting to be a fun 80s coming of age story. It feels like that gets lost later. Yeah, I think that's great to say that 3 is the real like melting pot of those kind of 3 or 4 core things. And I feel like the show doesn't lose those things, but it loses the right mixture. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like
it's like, oh, we're veering too far into the comedy. We're veering too far into the like hokiness kind of everything. And then again, it's also, I think it's just like the way that the show looks, honestly, too, is like, think about like Hopper getting choked out by the like tentacle thing in the lab. Like, sure, that was like scary, but like it didn't look scary. It didn't like feel scary. It felt like he was in danger, but I wasn't like scared in the moment because I wasn't really worried that anything was going to happen to Hopper. You know what I mean? And I think that's another big thing. And again, like you said, it's not the fact that there was the gap that like affected the writing. It's the fact that like the gap just instills something in someone that goes, okay, we took time off. Let's see what you got. And if you don't step to the plate as good as you did in the previous seasons, all your cracks are going to be, magnified. And I think that that's what you saw with season 5 for sure. Cause it's just so much to try and get done. And, whether you want to say that it's just the Duffers just weren't up to snuff, if they just got too big for their own good, too big for what they could handle, maybe Netflix, just stopped paying attention to them. So they kind of ran off course, that kind of thing. I don't know. It could be a lot of different things, but, let's see. Oh, Travis Mitchell says it didn't lose it. It just feels unnatural many times. Yeah. When the sappy heart to heart is about to happen and all the conversations start to sound the same. That's a really good point. Yeah. That's kind of like what I'm saying. Like this whole season, I make the joke and everybody online has been making the joke of like, I love you. I'm going to blow myself up. And it's like, that's what everybody's like doing this season. And then obviously that's exactly what actually did happen. In this season, I was just waiting for the moment where somebody's trying to figure out a password and finds out it's password. The comedy started going there. Yeah, absolutely. It's like the jokes were, a lot of it felt kind of like almost like they were writing on rails, which like is not like some of the points that you brought up, TJ, earlier about some of the things that went unaddressed. I really feel like those are very small things that really don't affect anything.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it was an 11-hour season. And it's like some of the more interesting things didn't get addressed when we spent so much time on other things that that we spent hours and hours on. You know what I mean? And I think that is another reason that, like, I come away more sour on the whole season than just the finale, only because I feel like we spent so much time that in the moment I was like, okay, I'm on board for all of this mind palace. Like, I'm in Vecna's mind, you know, whatever. But then when you just end it with like, oh, you take him out with, you know, an axe and with throwing, you know, napalm and a flare gun at the mind flayer, you know, a whole bunch of times, and you just like spray him with a flamethrower, like, and then that's just the end of it. You know, I don't know. It's just, there are more gaps that I don't think that this is anywhere near like a Game of Thrones level disaster or anything like that. I don't think that at all. But I do think that it is in the lower end of the seasons. I would probably go like season 2, season 5, 1, 3, and then 4. I would probably go like that, because I really do like 4, and I really do like 3, and then 1 is just like classic. But where would you go?
I couldn't even begin to rank them.
Real.
But 2 questions I do have for you, just quick thoughts on what happened in the finale. Oh my God, what was the first one? Of course, it just escaped. Well, the other one I was going to ask you is like the ending, as far as the ending for 11. Like, what do you believe? Because I know it's kind of open ended. Like, oh, is she actually dead, or did she, you know, was it an apparition? Like, was it not her standing in the gate? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Was it Callie with an illusion?
Right.
Yeah, poor Dr. Owens. Exactly. Where the hell is Dr. Owens? Where's my guy?
What are you choosing to believe, do you think?
I think she's dead.
Oh, okay.
I think I think that was another thing, because again, I think a lot of the stuff in the epilogue really worked for me, and I thought that Hopper's moment of they're at the corner and he's physically looking down the street and then turns and he goes, one street, you know, where you blame yourself for everything. You know, you just beat yourself up until, you know, you think you have nothing left, versus you just accept the decision. And for the people that were like, I didn't believe that Hopper would like be happy or whatever, I think the point is that he is happy, but he's not happy. He's happy with this sadness. You know what I mean? I think that's what he's trying to tell Mike, is you just have to accept it, and you are still here. You know, it's like the people, you have to kind of move on. I thought that was great. And I think that is what got Mike to create this story for himself. I think that what we then saw, you know, which was like 20 minutes later, but for Mike, it was just later that night. I think what we were seeing was that's Mike's way of accepting it, of accepting her death, is I'm going to create, well, how would it work? What could she have done? And I think it's maybe something that like he's probably been thinking about for a while, you know, where it's like, oh, well, maybe Callie did this and maybe she is still out there, you know? And I did kind of like the open-endedness. I really don't like, I don't know, a lot of the reviews and podcasts I've seen, it's like, they're like, and they took the cheapest way out possible by leaving it up. And I'm like, things have ambiguous endings all the time. Like, people are acting like the Duffers like invented ambiguous endings, or that they, in any case, like ruined ambiguous endings or something. You're raking them over the coals for going with an ending that half of every television show ever has ended on. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe it's not half, but like a large majority of big hit television shows have ambiguous endings. You know what I mean? And like, this is just one element that's ambiguous. So to be like, oh, it was a cop-out ending, it's like, I don't think it was a cop-out at all. It's just Mike's perspective on, here's what I think could have happened, you know, it's his justification in his own mind.
Right. Because you get that one kind of quick shot when I think he's at graduation. Yeah. At this point, he gets in his memory, he's like, oh yeah, they had those like speaker things.
Yeah, because he like connects it to the
Because
speaker.
at first I was like, I didn't hear anything like related to those things. So I was like, I don't know. But I'll be honest, I bought his like story, like hook, line, and sinker. So I was like,
she's out there.
She's out there somewhere.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, and I think that's the point, is that it really genuinely could be either one.
Right.
Because it's like people are like, well, Callie looked like she was way closer to death than that. And it's like, that could have been part of the illusion. We could have been in Hopper's POV, and Callie could have been, dying, but still perfectly capable of, using her powers.
Right. There was another thing that happened in the episode that I was like, I wanted your thought on, but I can't remember what it was. And I do think too, like, I think the Duffer Brothers are also them coming out and like answering all these questions and stuff like that. I really don't think is helping them.
Yeah.
Specifically, like in the case of like people like, well, where are all the Demogorgons in the Abyss? And they're like, well, Vecna never thought that they would come to the Abyss to confront. I'm like,
yeah,
are you sure about that? Like,
I will say that was not nearly as bad as the moment I'm about to say, but that was their equivalent of, well, Danny kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. Like that was I will give the Duffers, it's way less important of where are all the Demogorgons than like what happened in Game of Thrones with the Iron Fleet. But the fact that was kind of their answer, like I'm saying, that's a way worse answer by Benioff and Weiss than the Duffers, but it's never a great answer to just be like, well, Henry didn't really think of it. And it's like, what? Like, what do you mean? We've seen these Demogorgons, they can race across, they can leap and bound and jump, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And it's like, it seemed like in last season that the Abyss was covered in Demogorgons.
Right.
But yeah.
Last the one other thing that what was your thoughts on you kind of get through, not really, I guess it's a reveal, but like Will is talking to Henry in like his mind basically, and he's trying to tell him like Henry like admits like, I am the way I am because this is who I want it to be. Not like not that I'm being controlled in any particular way. Did you feel any certain way about that? I just felt like it was just an interesting way to go. And not that I thought that they would be able to redeem that character in any way, shape, or form, but I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I think it's like, at this point, I think it's hard to say that any thing is like, what am I trying to say? It's hard to say that like any writing team or writer is like, oh, we've seen that before, because it's like every single writer that's ever written anything is like, well, I don't want to do what this person did before. So it's like, you always have to, but everyone's done that for the history of time. So it's like, you're always going to do something that is familiar. There's only like 10 ways that you can wrap up a villain in any television show. There's only like 10 ways. It's about what you do within that way. So it's like, it wasn't my favorite way to go, to be like, oh, we're going to tease this, like, maybe he's going to come through and team up with them and stuff, but then he's going to do the, you're wrong about me. It's like, it's almost like they were like, but then we're going to do Anakin, but then he's not going to turn. He's not going to give in. It's like he's going to double down. And then it's like, okay, and then what? And then we're going to kill him. And it's like, oh, okay. So, but just kill him then. Like, it's like, just kill him then. Like, what are we talking about? But yeah, I thought, again, it's like, but then within that, like Jamie Campbell Bower, like, was great in those scenes. But it's just like, when you stop and think about it, or when you start to look at it broader, it's just like, it feels a little whatever. And then we are just about to close out the show, but we do have another caller here. Travis Mitchell himself has called in the show. So we're probably going to end out tonight on Travis's, we'll talk a minute about what might be coming up next for the show, for our show. But let's get Travis Mitchell's thoughts, his extended thoughts, his director's cut on Stranger Things season 5. Travis, can you mute and unmute your mic so I know you're ready? Okay, perfect. Travis, can you hear us? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, really liking the show, guys. You guys are really entertaining.
Boom, thank you.
Well, you were just talking about where the show could go. They won't do this, but I have an idea for a spinoff they could do.
Let's hear it.
And it kind of, one of the things that bugged me, and it's inevitable, is like the show, that the finale was so long, yet I feel like there were a lot of characters in the show that just didn't get resolution.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like in the finale of season 4, when the ashes are falling from the sky and Dustin goes outside, Eddie's uncle is with him, and you kind of like visually that gives the impression that his uncle is going to play some role in the story, but I don't think we even see. I don't even think we see him.
Yeah.
What happened to Enzo and Yuri? Like, I got the impression at the end of that season, like someone told me, I think the assumption is they just went back home. But I thought, well, Russia, that wasn't a very good place to be. After they did what they did, I just imagine they probably went to America.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought would be, you have Enzo in witness protection from the United States government. He's recruited by Dr. Owens, who sends him on missions to uncover conspiracies outside of, like, in other supernatural things outside the Upside Down, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he recruits Murray, even Mr. Clark, and they kind of go on adventures. And it would answer, like, what happened to all these. Yeah, and it's a post-
and Ted Wheeler.
War. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a post-Cold War climate, a Russian living in the United States during that time, probably still being hunted by Russia, because I imagine they're not happy with what he did. And you could also address, like, where the hell did Linda Hamilton go?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, where did she go? What happened to all of that? What happened to the whole Dr. K section or segment of the military? Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, and whatever it might. That sounds awesome. Whatever it might be. If there is ever a spinoff set at the same time as these characters, I need a Dr. Owens, Paul Reiser spinoff. That was a big one to me. That the fact that Dr. Owens wasn't in the season at all felt very weird, because it was like, yeah, go ahead.
Did people like? I'm sorry. Did some people said he died, but no, he didn't.
I don't know. He didn't die, and also, even if he did die in the bunker, for all intents and purposes, Dr. Brenner dies at the end of season 1. He's brutally attacked by a Demogorgon, and then you don't see him again until the second episode of season 4.
Yeah, yes, he is. It's the argument, like, in The Last Jedi. I know that I just jumped, but when the fathiers or the horses get let out, everyone's like, oh, those horses are just going to be let back. They're going to be captured again. I'm like, that casino just got wrecked. All those people that went to that casino that just got crushed are probably going to sue. I don't think that racetrack is opening again. That's not their priority, is recapturing a bunch of horses. They got child labor and animal abuse charges coming their way. So I'm thinking, when they don't have time to kill Dr. Owens. Dr. Brenner just died. Everyone's everyone's gone at the end of the conflict is over.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that I'm sorry, I just completely lost what I was going to say. But
sorry,
yeah,
I jumped to Star Wars. So
no, I know. Yeah. I just think speaking of, by the way, we didn't really get a chance. I think TJ might have thrown this up, but we didn't really get a chance to do that. It could have been worse. Vecna could have revealed a secret fleet of upside down Star Destroyers under the ground in the abyss. Yeah, that would have been great. I call it the unknown regions. That's what Dustin should have said. But yeah, I think that it would be a very interesting spinoff with all of those people, and with Dr. Owens there. Was there anything else? What was Travis, if you could pick one major positive exclusively from season 5, what would that be? So it doesn't necessarily have to be a brand new element, but just one really your biggest positive for season 5. What would you think?
Oh, definitely the usage. While there are characters who kind of get neglected and just don't get brought up, Would have been nice to even have. I don't like Argyle. I think that was one of the worst characters for me. It was just a Ninja Turtle dropped in the middle of the show. I feel like have a shot of him at the graduation yelling something stupid to his friends. That would have
that would have
nice.
been nice.
But
Yeah.
no, but going off of positives, one thing they may have neglected characters who didn't show up, but they did a good job of utilizing characters who have always been there, who haven't been utilized before. The Wheelers finally get something to do, which was really nice. And of course, and I think Shelley, who called in a few minutes ago, she brought up Mr. Clark. And while I definitely understand what she said, I appreciate and understand why Mr. Clark gets involved, because in season 1, he's one of the first people to get involved when Will goes missing. And it's easy to forget because of how long the show's gone on. He was kind of he was like almost in every episode of season 1, and then he kind of gets dropped. It was almost like I was wondering, like, why isn't he a main character? He feels like he should have been the Murray before Murray showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think he finds a piece of Will's. Doesn't he find a piece of Will's clothing in a sewer pipe? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they go to him and say, "Hey, one of the kids is missing again," it isn't really, in my opinion, it isn't a matter of it not fitting the story. It's the character's initiative taking precedence over his necessity in the story. It's a character deciding, no, I need to get involved.
Yeah.
You aren't asking me, like, that isn't your choice. That's one of my students is missing, and I have a chance to get him back.
Yeah.
So I felt that was really, I wish they had done it sooner in the show, but it was really nice to see him get to be a major part finally.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I wish they had done it sooner for sure, because he was such a fun presence to be kind of interjected right at the end. And I did think it was nice to kind of like, I'm sure from a script writing standpoint, they probably did want that character to come in at that point specifically to shake things up in the group and give a new dynamic and give, you ain't seen nothing yet, like line for Hopper, like they need to be able to have a new point of view character right at the end so that you can give all the, traditional one-liners and the hits and stuff like that. But then also, again, in the very, finale, him and Erica do get that good scene where they're, talking about swearing and stuff. And that's a nice scene. But then it's like that again, then it's like Dr. K shows up and then we just never see them again until the graduation. So it's very, it's fun and fun moments and stuff, but it can be, frustrating with, like you said, I think they probably brought Mr. Clark in a little late for what they wanted to do. And then I still even would have liked to see him be a little bit of a bigger presence in the finale itself, but I enjoyed them, bringing him back nonetheless. All right, Travis. Well, thank you so much for calling in and giving your thoughts on Stranger Things season 5 and ending out our show with us here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks again. And we should be back next week, potentially the week after that, but we should be back next week. And thank you so much again, Travis. You have a good one.
Yeah. Happy New Year, guys.
All right.
You too.
Awesome. Well, TJ, anything else for you on Stranger Things?
They are doing a spinoff, I believe.
And the animated In Between Cool.
So I will be interested to know how those are received.
Yeah.
I don't know the Duffer Brothers' involvement. I believe they signed a deal with Paramount recently.
Yes.
So
They will always be
producers.
They will
or
always be
EPs.
producers of anything that they do. But the live action spinoff, they sound heavily involved in, but are not the showrunners.
I think Netflix is it would behoove them, if this is the correct use of that word, to not continue on in the Stranger Things universe, considering this is the only sort of IP that they have that is, I'm not even sure what the word is. Yeah, I guess a hit.
A cultural phenomenon.
Perfect term.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be a very big mistake, business-wise at least, to not try and do, obviously they recognize that because they are trying to do different shows or different spinoffs. So I will just be interested to see how those are received and if they can, capture the audience's attention like this original show did with its first season and following seasons.
Yeah, I really thought I've talked a lot about this with like friends and people in IRL and stuff, or in real life and stuff. I think that there's a couple of spinoff ideas that I've heard that I think would afford it the opportunity to really shrink itself back down again, and really go deep down in like but then it's like you'll always get back to that point. No matter how small, the spinoff, they're pulling it back to basics. Well, then by the fourth season of the spinoff, it's going to be, the wizard anti-chamber is leaking and we have to get the fluid back before Dr. Brenner gets back, or so, that's going to be the end. It's going to be Dr. Brenner origins. Which again, I wouldn't be upset about. Like, I think a show about young Dr. Brenner could be interesting with the experiments that they were doing during like during the Cold War, more so during the 60s, early 70s, stuff like that. Even like the 50s, I think would be very, very interesting. But yeah, I think I'm excited to see what the spinoff is, like what it even actually is about. And I'm excited for the animated show to see, if I don't think it's their voice cast. I think it's younger kids because obviously they don't sound the same. But I'm interested to see that if it's just going to be like a Young Jedi Adventures where it's just like, here's just like kind of a junior entry level Stranger Things show. And they were like, well, between these two seasons is when they could do like the most activity basically to do whatever. I think that would be very interesting. But yeah, I think if that'll do it for you, I think that'll do it for me on Stranger Things.
Yep. Last thing I'll say real quick. Did you, before watching the finale at any point, did you catch the stage production or no?
I watched like the first 45 minutes of it. So I do know like how it's connected and the different things like that, and how it could be connected to a potential spinoff about what we see in the finale and everything like that, because it is did you see it?
I didn't. Personally, I thought that whole thing, and if it was connected in any sort of way, like how some people said it was that actually saw it, I thought that was pretty BS personally. And I understand that, Danielle made a point where it's like, well, it's kind of like MCU where like, you have the TV shows and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, but that to me, that is easily accessible. I can pay for Disney Plus to watch those shows. A stage production in New York City,
I can't get to that.
I can't get to that.
Yeah.
And that I think is, and I don't know how much it added to the story, or if it would have improved my experience with the final season or finale.
With the finale, I don't know what it did anything.
Yeah, I just feel like if that is the case, again, I just think that is kind of, and I thought they would maybe upload it to Netflix at some point. And kind of put it on there before the finale, but obviously that didn't happen. I just thought that was kind of lame, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like it didn't bother me, but I could definitely see it as like, and several reviews I watched and stuff, they were like, and it's just felt like an advertisement for like the stage show, and it's like I feel like that. I get that. I think it is that. You know what I mean? It is a like, oh, and this story is explored further in the stage show.
Right. Specifically, I think with the stone, a lot of it and stuff like that is.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's like, I get that, but also, if you didn't know that there was a stage show at all,
right? I
don't think that moment plays anything. I don't think it plays into anything deep. You know what I mean? Or anything that you wouldn't know already. But yeah. All right, so that will do it for Stranger Things. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I just want to take a quick second to say our next two shows will probably be they definitely will be some sort of a top things of 2025. Probably not going to do a full top list, but I have an idea that I'm going to shoot TJ a text later today I have an idea of how we can kind of do that just because I know both of our numbers have been pretty low this year. And then also something that we can definitely do, we'll probably be doing a big tier list again for 2026 projects. So we'll probably take a look 2026 projects, things that we haven't seen yet. Obviously, you got Doomsday, Brand New Day, Clayface, tons and tons of stuff coming out. Wonder Man, Daredevil, Born Again, Mandalorian and Grogu, Ahsoka season 2. There's a ton of stuff, and not even just the big franchise stuff. There's a ton of really, really good movies coming up this year that are on the schedule. So those will probably be our next 2 shows. Hopefully we will be here next week. Schedule wise, I think we should be fine. But a lot can come up with stuff going on and everything. But that will do it for us this week, guys. I wanted to say again, thank you guys so much for joining us. We had a lot of people watching us live tonight, which is always appreciated by all of you guys. Thank you so much, Travis Mitchell, for everybody joining us. Thank you, Chu Kui, thank you so much. 12 minutes left. Yes, absolutely. 12 minutes left. 12 minutes until what? I am not sure. But thank you for joining us. Thank you, Travis Mitchell, for calling in. Thank you. Oh, of course. Thank you, Travis Mitchell, for calling in. Thank you, Shelly, for calling in. Thank you, Shannon, for chatting. Thank you, Danielle, for chatting. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you to any other friends of ours out there who tuned in for the show, or anybody who's not a friend. Go ahead and make sure that you hit that subscribe button, like, comment if you want to share this video with a Stranger Things fan. We just did about an hour on the finale. I'm sure we could do another 2 hours on it and everything like that. But we are going to get going. Thank you guys again for joining us. I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been another host, TJ Cornwall. Thank you for watching. Please follow us on all our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We will see you next time.
Boom.